Call this meeting to order at 6:01. Good evening, everyone. Let us begin with an invocation and pledges of allegiance.
Yes, we have Miss Janice Hernandez, who's going to lead us in our invocation and our pledge of allegiance this evening.
Dear Lord, we ask that you guide us in the work that we embark on tonight and that you help us fulfill our duties to the best of our abilities, always in the interest of our students and the community that we serve. Guide our students in all of their future endeavors and provide them with the wisdom they need to make decisions that lead them to opportunities to improve their world. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez.
Thank you. Recognitions.
Yes, sir, we do have some really great recognitions. We have our student recognition, Students of the Month today. We're also going to recognize some of our really great educators and teachers of the year. And it's been a challenging year for everyone. And so we're extremely proud of our teachers who are being recognized by their peers and their colleagues. So we're excited to bring these recognitions to you. And Ms. Hernandez will begin, I believe, with our Students of the Month this year.
Thank you so much, Dr. Verska, board. We want to first start off with our first recognition, which is from Sky Harbor Elementary, Nave Garcia. So congratulations to Sky Harbor Elementary Student of the Month, 5th grader Nave Garcia. Talent is nothing without dedication. Nave, proud daughter of Janine and Edward Garcia, lives the motto at home, in school, and on the softball field. Although she can sometimes be a little shy, though hard work and dedication, she has already accomplished so much with plans to do much more. Nave is used to excelling in school and prides herself on always being on the honor roll. But this year felt a little different because she was the only 5th grader to receive a honor roll this semester. Some of the clubs that she's involved in are drama, safety patrol, book club, and robotics. Outside of school, she's involved in a highly competitive select softball organization. This is one of her greatest passions, and she has big dreams to play softball for UT one day, where she also plans to study to become a pediatrician. Congratulations, Nave. Next up, we have Gibbs Singleton, an 8th grade student at McNair Middle School, who has been selected by his teachers as Student of the Month for April of 2021. Jacob has enjoyed learning and playing the clarinet since 6th grade. He also takes private lessons outside of school to help prepare him for the band in high school. Jacob has recently started exercising more, which helps him after long days on the computer since he has been attending school virtually. Jacob is a gifted and talented student and continues to maintain high grades in his honors classes and has scored in the master's range on the majority of STAR exams. He also received the Valley High Optimism Award in both 7th and 8th grade. This award recognizes students who have the highest GPA each grading period. Congratulations, Jacob. And last, we have Southwest Legacy, who would like to recognize Fernando Martinez, a senior from the first graduating class to attend Legacy all 4 years. Fernando will graduate under the endorsement of Public Services and Multidisciplinary Studies under the Distinguished Plan. Public service is not merely an endorsement for this young man, but rather a way of living. He exemplifies the concept of service through his leadership, independence, motivation, and dependability. He has been instrumental in shaping the culture of Legacy and personifies the Legacy belief system of do the right thing, do the best you can, and show care towards people. Since the inception of Legacy High School, he has been the freshman class president, sophomore class vice president, junior class vice president, and currently the senior class vice president, or senior class president. During his career in high school, Fernando has been part of the Legacy Education and Training and has performed at the Texas Association of Future Educators, advancing to the state level competition. He has served as a manager trainer for all sports and athletes all 4 years. To add more to his resume, he has been a member of the Chick-fil-A Leaders of America and has been an active member of the Legacy Best Buddies organization. Fernando plans to attend Tarleton State University and study human resources. Congratulations, Fernando.
Ms. Hernandez, could we pause just a second? Is that the same Fernando that
Yes,
was with us, Monday? Okay, well, first of all the students, on behalf of the board, congratulations. I do want to call out on a shout out, give a shout out to Fernando if you're listening. Mazba puts on an hour Zoom, what do we call it?
There are weekly touch points for the
And-
MOSBA organization.
Where we call on board members, superintendents from throughout the state. Right now, we're addressing COVID issues in different parts of the state. And this week, we decided to put students on. We had, I think, a total of 7 students from different areas of the state. And I asked Dr. Verstoff to find me someone to represent Southwest ISD with the help of Joseph Guidry. We found Fernando, they found Fernando, and he did a fabulous job. And I just want to say thank you, Fernando, for short notice. And we'll probably be calling upon you again and getting some more info from you. We like some of your input. And it's available on, it's in the MOSBA site. It's been recorded, so you can view it. Okay, thank you.
I just want to say you were right. There were 7 students on the student panel that presented. And by far, and I know we're a little kind of one way, by far Fernando was the best student on that panel. They all did well.
It was excellent.
They agree.
Student panel, that's
Very
right.
genuine young man.
Okay. And up next, we have Teachers of the Year.
So we have Miss Selena Madrigal, who's going to do our introductions for the Teachers of the Year. Done a really great job with this program, working with Trinity University and working with all of our campuses to identify potential Teachers of the Year and go through the process. And she may explain the process. We use outside folks who come in and do the assessment and culminate to a elementary district Teacher of the Year and a secondary Teacher of the Year, but all of our teachers in the classrooms, they're just all phenomenal and all Teachers of the Year this year in particular. And so Selena's going to do the introduction, so we get to meet all of our campus Teachers of the Year and who our 2 recipients for district elementary and district secondary Teachers of the Year are.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Verstoff. Yes, I've had the honor of kind of conducting the entire process of our Teachers of the Year selection for the last 3 to 4 years now. And it's one of my favorite projects of the year because we really get to highlight all of our top educators in our system. I mean, everyone is amazing, but these 19 individuals you're going to hear about today are all just doing standout things and they deserve the recognition. And so it really is nice to get to work with this group throughout the school year. As Dr. Verstoff did mention, they go through a very rigorous process to get these kind of recognitions and nominations. And so it is definitely very well deserved. We're just sad that in these times we're not able to have our Teachers of the Year all here. We did have our district elementary and secondary. We were going to have them here. We have Miss Christine Bendeley, and I'll get to her recognition in a bit. But tonight, again, we do want to recognize our 2020-2021 Southwest ISD Teachers of the Year. Their enthusiasm for teaching, their love for children, and their expertise make them teachers that are highly respected and admired among their peers and within this great community. So to ensure everyone's safety, our teachers are joining us virtually tonight. So I don't know if you guys saw all of them kind of hopping on earlier. They are on virtually. And we do have a presentation that we're going to recognize each one of our teachers and share a few words about them that were shared from their campus administration. So we're going to start off with our campus Teachers of the Year. First, we have representing Big Country Elementary, Miss Stephanie Gerber. Mrs. Gerber took virtual instruction and ran with it. She creates ways to make learning fun and captures the interest of her students, resulting in 100% attendance online most days. She is always up for a new challenge. We have Bob Hope Elementary, Alex Gill. What makes Mr. Gill such an outstanding educator is his love of teaching music in a way every child can understand and appreciate. His passion and commitment to the fine arts program at Bob Hope Elementary and Southwest ISD shows in everything that he does. Elm Creek Elementary, Miss Aleli Garza. Aleli Garza stands at the heart of Elm Creek Elementary. Her positive attitude, outgoing personality, and love for our students is contagious. That smile is too. She's got a pretty smile there, Miss Garza. We have Hidden Cove Elementary, Miss Jacqueline Mendoza. Miss Mendoza is a strong, dedicated, and passionate teacher that is always willing to go above and beyond in order to ensure the success of her students. Miss Mendoza is a true reflection of commitment to growth, service, and results. Meadow Creek Elementary, Amy Gallegos. Miss Gallegos is a master math teacher in 4th grade and has demonstrated her leadership skills both inside and outside of the classroom. She is always willing to help others with math strategies or classroom management and often shows off her courageous leadership during PLCs by teaching teachers math strategies. Southwest Elementary, Samantha Ortega. Miss Ortega works hard to build strong relationships with her students and their families to ensure engagement and success. She's a team player and continuously collaborates with her colleagues, always contributing new ideas and strategies. Congratulations, Miss Ortega, for being a great teacher, child advocate, and teammate. Spicewood Park Elementary, Stella Davila. Stella Davila is hardworking and ensures that all students are engaged in active learning. She's persistent in adapting to students' needs and building meaningful relationships with her students, parents, and community. Ms. Davila leads by example and exhibits a growth mindset. Sun Valley Elementary, Jose Vela. Mr. Vela is a dedicated librarian to all students of Sun Valley. He is constantly striving to provide students learning experiences that promote achievement and the motivation to read. He accomplishes this by seeking out resources, initiatives, and partnerships in order to expose our students to new learning experiences. Mcauliffe Middle School, we have Mr. Miguel Ibarra. Mr. Ibarra has a heart of gold and truly cares about our students and community. His gentle approach and passion for mariachi music captivates our students. Mr. Ibarra is very deserving of this award, and we are very proud that he is a rocket. Of Resnick Middle School, Michelle Borland. Miss Borland is a standout teacher. She's energetic, confident, and very positive. She possesses the student-first mentality, which is acknowledged by her peers and is the reason why she received this very deserved recognition. Scobie Middle School, Carla Escalera. Carla Escalera has truly defined the definition of a relentless educator. Mrs. Escalera has been able to find ways to meet the needs of all of her students in person and online. What makes her even more special is her ability to adjust and grow as she has embraced the learning curves of technology and its resources. She's always flexible and goes above and beyond for her students. Southwest Legacy High School, Carlos Ponce. Mr. Ponce is truly deserving of this honor. He's an excellent teacher with a strong desire to make a difference with kids. His passion and dedication is beyond words, and the value that he has added for Legacy cannot be measured. Cass STEM High School, Isabel Medina. Miss Medina is a true collaborator and coach to all at Cass STEM. She inspires students to work hard through competition on the robotics team and in her classroom. She supports teacher facilitators with high-level engagement strategies to reach our students. Most of all, she's a warm and loving educator who always lends a hand of support and encouragement. So those are our campus teachers of the year. And now we're going to share our elementary district finalists, which we have two. Our first elementary district finalist is Indian Creek Elementary, Michael Bendeley. Coach Bendeley is always full of positive energy and ready to help. He's a great example for all of the students and teachers of Indian Creek Elementary. He's an outstanding coach that sets the bar high and is a great model for others. And we have Sky Harbor Elementary, our other elementary district finalist, Janine Garcia. Mrs. Janine Garcia is a teacher leader and STEM teacher at Sky Harbor and is an individual who excels at any task that is placed in front of her. Her greatest qualities that allow her to connect with anyone she comes in contact with are her warm personality, accessibility for service, enthusiasm to learn, and most importantly, her caring nature. And now we have our two secondary district finalists, which are McNair Middle School, Graciela Reyna. McNair staff and students would like to thank Ms. Reyna for her devotion to the theater arts program. She has continued to build a loving, caring, and accepting program that helps students improve their self-confidence. Congratulations on your much-deserved recognition. We also have Ms. Danielle Obregon, Southwest High School. She is our other secondary district finalist. Ms. Obregon is an innovative teacher that has gone to great lengths to problem solve this year's technological challenges. Her passion for teaching the faculty and her students can be witnessed on a daily basis. She always takes initiative and has a positive attitude. She is a true asset and a blessing to our Dragon family. And last but not least, we have our 2 district teachers of the year, one of whom was able to join us tonight, Miss Bendeley. So we're gonna share her first. We have our elementary district teacher of the year, Crewald Road Elementary, Christine Bendeley. Miss Bendeley exemplifies all of the qualities of a teacher that are extraordinary. She's dedicated to her work and committed to all of her students' success. As a leader, she inspires others to be their best and always leads by example. She is respectful and authentic in her relationships. She is confident in her ability to help others achieve their highest potential. She's an exceptional leader who leads with integrity and passion. And last but not least, we have our secondary district teacher of the year, Mr. Ronald Carpenter from Crossroads DAEP. Unfortunately, he was not able to be here with us tonight, but did want to extend, and of course, we want to congratulate him on this great honor. Mr. Ronald Carpenter, if you look up the word service in the dictionary, you may find a picture of Mr. Carpenter. Amongst his peers, he is a leader who is always willing to step up and help in any way he can. He often helps teachers and staff before and after school with technology issues, student logistics, or anything that has to be done. As a teacher, he's all about what is best for our students. He works to understand every student. It is said that sometimes students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. With Mr. Carpenter, the students all know how much he cares. So in the honor of their accomplishments today, each teacher also received a gift bag from the district, along with the traditional Teacher of the Year stipend, just a small token of our appreciation. So let's give them all a big round of applause. That completes my presentation. I don't know if you had anything else to say, sir, but.
I tried to do something you could do back in the day. And
Ooh.
something to do with our teachers. And since we have Ms. Bentley, our district teacher of the year, we'll shake your hand.
I was just negative yesterday. Thank you so much.
We'll take a picture with Roger.
That'll work.
You have your mask on, so you can actually
And you can now see all of our teachers' faces up there on the screen too. So if you're a teacher of the year, if you want to wave. Awesome.
We'd just like to say we appreciate all of our educators. You know, we say this a lot, but they left a spring break, not this most recent one, but the one before, and school has been different for every one of them. And the way they have picked up to keep education in the forefront by teaching face-to-face and also teaching remotely, sometimes at the same time, sometimes kind of staggering between the two. Phenomenal educators in our school district, and they all represent their campus just so well. We're proud of Ms. Bentley. I don't know what the conversations are at home. We're proud of everything that you do, and you represent the elementary teachers at our convocation. We look forward to hearing from that. Thank you all so much, and thank you for everything you do for the children of Southwest ISD and the children in the state of Texas. We're very proud of all of you. Very proud of you. I'd also like to send our condolences to Mr. Carpenter. He could not be here because of a death in the family, but we do send him our condolences, and he's in our thoughts and our prayers.
Wanted to mention on behalf of the board, thank you for all of you, what you've done. You not only are good teachers, but good role models. Mrs. Bentley was the inspiration for my daughter to go to become a teacher, and you'll be happy to know she is a teacher now.
Oh, I know.
Thank you very much.
And who would have thought we'd be sitting here looking at you guys on camera, you know, in your living rooms, in your dens, in your kitchens, you know. It's just a sign of times, and hopefully soon we'll have you back in this room and be able to high five you. And thank you for all you do.
Congratulations, everyone.
Okay.
And I believe that does conclude our recognitions, Mr. President. Thank you all. Motion to stage live.
Okay, public comments. Do we have anyone sign up?
Yes, sir.
No. Consent agenda. Board members, you've had that before you. Is there any item that any board member would like to have pulled? Hearing none, I need a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sides. Sign, motion passes. We'll jump right into the board amendment 6. No, that's all part of consent. Okay. Item 6, construction update.
Construction update I have tonight with me, Rafael Barajas, going to give an update on our snow days and our construction project at the same time.
Bring us some good news.
Yeah, I'll let him go ahead and start talking about the litigation. So we're going to talk a little bit about the winter storm and what we're dealing with currently, and what they're working through to kind of get those schools back up and running, and then get into some of our construction projects.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think he gave you a packet of some of the presentation stuff. So
Yes, good afternoon. I handed over pretty much all the items we're gonna discuss today. First, I'm gonna give you guys an update on the winter storm items. The three biggest ones that were affected, the first one being Southwest Legacy and their chillers. As we presented last time, both of the chillers were affected by the winter storm, and these chillers really service the larger areas of the campus, which are the cafeteria, the auditorium, fine arts, culinary arts, and some of the corridors on that end of the building. Since then, on March 11th, our facilities and maintenance and our third-party maintenance contractor were able to get a hold on a temporary chiller. We initially were looking for 300 ton, and I'm sorry it says pounds there, but it's 300 tons. We lost two 275 chillers, but we're able to use a 400 ton chiller to supply enough chilled water to the areas. It's working very well. All the areas, like I said, the larger cafeteria, auditorium, fine arts, right now are working well with the temporary unit. As of right now, we're working with the adjuster to develop a game plan on what's to come, either a full replacement or what it may be in terms of their adjustment. But as a Southwest High School, right now, we're in the clear with a temporary chiller.
Are we looking into what we can do to prevent this in the future?
The chillers they're outside. The thing we need to make sure it doesn't happen is we lose power and having a backup somehow to make sure.
The generator.
It's when these chillers, we lost power there with these two chillers and they froze and basically all busted in the insides. And so we're gonna have to really look at how we can make sure that at least the chillers there, must also the fire riser pipes. So we're gonna do some research on all that to make sure that we don't face this again. For all the other campuses that had power and didn't have power, lose power very long, wasn't a problem, but they got water flowing through them. And as soon as that we lost power, we are working with the insurance adjusters because they are fixable, but it's going to cost a lot. But we'd rather just replace them and get new ones because once you try to mix, match, and patch them together in a way that we have to fix these because it's pretty extensive. Once we get them back together, they may not work right, and we may have another issue. So we're working with them to see what that's going to look like. And so that's our current plan right now, is to fully replace these chillers and so that we don't have to deal with these issues over the next 5 to 10 years. And definitely look at how we can stop this from happening again.
As part of this, of the original work of the high school, luckily we had built an expansion pad for a third chiller that we're able to hook up immediately after we found that that temporary chiller. So that's something to look for in larger projects, future middle schools, possibly other high schools, just to install those conduits to be able to service her in terms of emergency. So any other questions on Legacy? I'll move over to Spicewood Elementary. Again, as we reported last time, the 100 and 200 corridors were the ones that were affected. Right now, Black and Mooring is doing their remediation work. They have installed dehumidifiers on each classroom and corridors. As part of this flood, there was some spores that were coming up. We went ahead and tested immediately and abated in terms of mold to mitigate any future damage. That's being taken care of on the 200 wing. No other wings were affected, but just wanted to bring that up, and the fact that Blackman Mooring is taking over the project in terms of clearance and removal of affected sheetrock, millwork. As you see on the report, these are just some typical pictures. They have done a really good job putting everything in the center of the room and giving their people access to cut sheetrock as needed and as called on their moisture mapping. But that's the update right now on Spicewood Park. Any questions on Spicewood? We'll move over to the bigger project or the bigger damage that we encountered on our winter storm, and that's Southwest High School. As we presented last time, there was about 29 classrooms that were affected as part of this flood. Blackman Mooring during spring break went ahead and started the removal of the sheetrock that was damaged based on their mapping reports, which was pretty extensive. It reached out all the way to the admin offices. And as you see on the report on the images 6 and 7, that's how it currently stands right now on some of the administration areas. One of the things that they had to do again is cut that affected sheetrock as soon as possible. The longer we let it go, the more degradation is going to happen to that sheetrock, and the more cutting will have to be done later. So they went ahead and jumped on that over spring break. And these are just some images of the typical removal of sheetrock, millwork that was damaged. Everything that's right now we're in the classrooms, they're either stored on the center of the room or in adjacent rooms that were not affected. So any questions on Southwest High School?
Was most of this area had already been remodeled?
So that most of the original, I guess if you want to call it the epicenter of the damage, was on the 2002 edition. So that was not part of any phase 1, 2. However, it did affect some of our phase 2 and 3 work, like the Heel Academy, the flooring, some of the sheetrock along those classrooms. But most of the damage was on the science lab of the 2002 edition of the project.
I also want to commend our facility maintenance, our custodial and administration staff. A lot of this damage, actually, I don't know if districts in San Antonio that did not have any, that did not get away from any significant damage. Everyone had some or others. And a lot of that was driven because you couldn't get on the road to get to facility to normally do a check when you have an overnight freeze or a day-long freeze. This was something that we haven't been through. And so in this case at the high school, pretty much our water tank pretty much is drained into the high school for a long period of time. But to see the staff, when we could access the facilities, really kind of get in and work together to start the remediation process. I just want to commend all of our staffs, our custodian, our principals, our facility maintenance crew who came in to really start that process. We haven't seen damage like this before. This is like putting a layer on top of already disruptive layer. What's really something to be proud about is all the face-to-face students with one short little hiccup for a week, which we're going to item later on. We're back in school, even Spicewood. They're using half of their facility for the students who attend there. So we're able to serve all our students within their school, community school, still today. And so that's something to be proud about. That was a lot of moving of desks, a lot of moving of furniture, a lot of moving of materials and equipment. But the staffs all were able to get in there and make it happen so we can serve our kids in those environments. And so I just want to commend all you guys for the job you did. And now we'll pick the pieces up and we'll be, after we do the mitigation, remediation of this, we'll be in a better position. And we will do research, because I don't know if this is going to be a common thing that comes around every other year or every 5 years, every 100 years. But winterization is going to be part of our research about
when we do bid out buildings, to make sure that we are having these considerations. And I think everyone's going to be looking at that more now.
Right.
And now to move on the construction of our 2018 bond. The first one, we're going to talk about Southwest High School. Fortunately, CanCon was able to expedite the turnover of 10 classrooms on the second floor, which helped the high school tremendously because of the lack of space or space that was taken over by the flood. So on the second floor, right before spring break, CanCon was able to provide or turn back to the campus 10 classrooms that they had taken over for renovation, as well as the library. They had a unit to be installed on top of the library, which took a portion of it out for use from the high school. But with those 10 classrooms, that library was able to be turned over to the district and for use at Southwest High School. Currently, CanCon, and I'll move over to the plan. Currently, CanCon is taking over about 19 classrooms on the first floor. There's some classrooms in yellow, these that we took back, again, just for additional space due to the lack of science labs. But the cluster of 6 classrooms behind the heel, as well as all the back support spaces and classrooms are now taken over by CanCon for the remodel. Together with that, they have also taken over the HVAC units for the space for the PE gym and the second gym. And we're well on our way to do those upgrades and renovation projects. So the ones in green here was all those set of classrooms and library that was turned over right before spring break at the beginning of March. Again, CanCon is on track and on schedule. That week that they weren't able to work, but they're making it up at a good pace. They're here as needed. During spring break, they were also able to remove all the gravel from the fine arts and science lab for our re-roof project. So we're also kind of getting some headway for summer jobs. So they're able to finish that re-roofing project on the summer for Southwest High School. Any questions on Southwest High School, phase 3? At Scobie Middle School, I'm gonna skip, you guys can follow on the pictures, but I'm gonna skip on the plan. Better describes it. Barley Cop currently has taken over the second half of the administration, as well as the life skills, the theater and drama room, stage, and recently the locker room space on the first floor. They have turned over before spring break the other half of the administration area, which is now being utilized and occupied. On the second floor, again, right before spring break, they were able to turn over the 200 wing. The campus custodial staff was very helpful during spring break to move those desks and furniture back in order to have teachers and students come back and occupy the 200 corridor. At the same time, CanCon now has taken over the 100 wing, which is about 15 classrooms, 2 computer labs, and the library. So that'll be the next part on their renovation phase. On Scobie Middle School? On our natatorium project. So right now, for pay application number 2, we're about 5% complete. Most of this is site work. The roughing for utility lines, all the piers are now complete. We had about 185 plus piers that are not complete, drilled, poured. We should start in the next couple of weeks the pour of the feet end of the pool. So that's pretty exciting. Where Doris is really moving ahead on this this project. They're going to continue with, like I said, some additional pours of concrete, continuation of site utility, and the foundation for the rest of the building structure. But that project right now is on schedule. And again, that week lost, they've done their work to catch up. Any questions on the natatorium? Our next project, I believe this is kind of the first design iteration we show you guys or the board, and this is for our transportation department. RVK and Next Gen is our architects that were selected for this project. As part of our bond language, there is some renovation to be done on the transportation building, but mainly is the bus wash and as well as lighting for the fueling station. What RVK has done here is broken down pretty much in terms of cost. It's hard to see in terms of cost for each item of the renovation. For the administration area and the wing, we're thinking it's going to be about $450,000 for that renovation project, a portion of the project, as well as the shop area. The next section will be the fueling station, which is mostly aesthetic. It's paint and lighting upgrades. We're not touching anything in terms of fueling systems. Those are operational and up to date. But the biggest portion of it will be the bus wash. We have toured several bus wash systems with the transportation department. We have selected one as a basis of design based on their input and their expertise. So as of now, pretty much moving forward, we will be doing the design development, construction documents, and further out bidding. At the last page, what you find here is our rough schedule. So our idea is for this to be able to bid in June or July and commence work around August through April, a 9-month project. What we'll probably start is with the bus wash station, being that right now it's not operational, it's outside. We won't affect anything inside and take it on breaks or develop a plan with a general contractor for that. And lastly, on the construction updates is the track project. We went ahead and rebid. We had a pre-bid meeting on March 9th, and that project is set to bid on March 30th of this month as we receive bids from that project.
And that was a project we bidded out previously and came really over budget, so we wanted to put it back out on the street again to see if we could get some better pricing to the market.
Do you feel that the market has gone up or down?
Every project we bid since that has been really good to Southern Secondary, so we're hoping that we'll get some great numbers. And but we also know that we've put some, because of savings, we have some savings to make up the difference that we have.
Yeah.
That's it for construction updates.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, hearing none, we'll go up to monthly tax report.
Yes, sir. This time last year, we were about 91% collection, and we're right at 90, so we're a little bit lower than we were last year at this point. So.
Which is really not bad. I mean, less than a percent point for the times. I saw that and I'm impressed. Good job, Brandon.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any questions on that? Monthly financial report, investment report. Anything you want to point out, Brandon?
As far as investments, it's mostly in the pools right now. We haven't had any options. So this is the market right now. It's not an investing market. We're just kind of putting our money in pools.
Okay, reports on gifts and bequests, enrollment report. Review of purchases over 50,000. Board members, stop me at any time if you have a question on any of these. April calendar of events. CASB board policy update 116. Someone have a report on that?
Yes, sir. We have Mr. Fedor's. This is the first reading of CASB's board policy. Includes 5 local policies, some changes, and I believe Mr. Fedor's is joining us virtually, and I will cover that item. Can you hear us, Adrian?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Dr. Verstuff. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. And thank you, board members. I'm going to begin with a presentation on the latest updates that we have. So let me share my screen. Let me begin here at the beginning. So this is going to be TASB Board Policy Update 116. This is the latest update that's come out in January 2021. And this will include any revisions from the 86th legislature that are going to be in effective as of January 1st. And this will be a first reading for the board tonight. Just as a point of information, we've typically provided the board members a copy of a publication called Vantage Points that highlights all of these changes. TASB has gone to a new publication. So with all of the new future updates, you'll see the publication entitled Local Policy Overview. There is a link to a video as well in there. I won't show that tonight here, but I will present all the information that's in the video, but they do have that available. There are 5 local policy updates requiring board approval at the next meeting. Tonight's is just information only. It covers 4 major issues, which will be dismissal and appeal process for employees, the cybersecurity training, student medical treatment, and community conduct on school premises. There were a variety of legal policies that were updated as well. That were changes that reflected updates to the Texas Administrative Code from that same legislative session, the 86th legislative session, also effective January 1st. I'm going to present the local policies that are being updated. The first one is going to be CQB local. This is the cybersecurity. I know that many of you all are familiar with the cybersecurity. At the end of the school year last year, we had the requirements for all employees to do that. That's still a requirement for all of our employees to complete that by the last, or usually it's by June 15th. And then we report that to the state. So that's what the current state law reads. And to ease compliance with this law, the new version of CQB local will allow the responsibilities of finding and delegating the actual cybersecurity program that we use will be delegated to the superintendent. So it was previously something that the board had to select, and now that will be the superintendent that can select that. And if you have any questions, feel free to stop me, or we can do questions at the end if anything comes up. The next will be dealing with the appeals process for at-will employment and other contracts. So most districts have adopted an employee complaint policy that's found in DGBA local, and it establishes the process for an at-will employee would follow before a complaint is heard by the board. And so the 2 updates, DCD local and DCE local, were both updated and will reference DGBA under those sections. They didn't previously have it there, but they will have the reference to follow the grievance process through DGBA. So the recommended revision then is intended to clarify that an at-will employee who is dismissed or a non-Chapter 21 contract employee whose contract is not reissued would follow the grievance process as outlined in policy DGBA. This includes proceedings through the relevant hearing levels before a complaint goes to the board. So this is pretty much the same information. It's for DCE local, which is the non-Chapter 21. So this is the same information that applies to this policy and this type of contract as well. Next one, FFAC.
Excuse me. Can I ask a question? I apologize for butting in, but I can't cut myself. On the one where the responsibility for choosing the security consultant is changed from the board to the superintendent. You know, is that a requirement? Or is that, what is it?
Well, part of the last legislative session, they passed a bill that requires all employees to go through a cybersecurity training. We have to have a cybersecurity liaison, which is Jeff Powell. So we had to go out and find a training piece. And normally districts do that. We wouldn't ask the board to go find it for us and then tell us what to use. So they put the language in there just to say that it's a requirement and the board should enforce this, but the superintendent should have the designee to go find this actual program to train the employees. So it is a new law, like all our employees have to, that they use any of our computers because of the cybersecurity attack.
But what is the law that it has to be turned over to the superintendent?
Your change in policy clarified that the onus is on the superintendent or designee to locate a viable cybersecurity training program that all employees and school board members now have to go through annually, at least 10 hours of training. We use the Safe Schools module, and we do it for our other required bloodborne pathogens and first aid, and there's about 4 required trainings we have to go through annually. And they're virtual programs, and all of our employees at the beginning of the year, we give them the direction, how they can go out and kind of just go through these modules and be able to have that credit that they receive their annual training.
I'm not questioning any of that. I'm questioning the philosophical, or actually the legal definition is that the board has to approve it. But how can they approve it if they're being dictated that that's going to go to the superintendent?
Yeah, I think it was always the superintendent. I think with this update that this clarifies the module. That someone has to make sure that we have a viable cybersecurity training program that has a stamp of approval from different national entities. And I think this policy has always been there. If you see on the policy, CQB.
Is it a local policy?
It's a local policy. Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to state that it's easy for us just to say, there was a TASB policy, the change came out, we'll adopt that, and that's on. That's not the intent of the law. The intent of the law is that the board will approve it, and the superintendent will execute it. But that's not what he said. He said that that the superintendent will go out and find the person. I don't want to get overly involved in it. I'm just a little concerned that we too flippantly take whatever TEC is, or whatever the TASB has written for us and decide, okay, well, we're just gonna adopt that. Because the board should look at what it is that we're adopting and not just agree to it. That makes sense? So I just wanted to make that statement for you.
Yes, sir. I think that for next time we can bring back the legal, because CQB has legal, and so we can show you what the legal says, and then look into.
That may be helpful because I was a little confused.
Correct, because this is more of local policy, but we'll look at legal.
Uh-huh.
I'll share with you, we'll bring back legal so y'all can see legal, and then.
And maybe also a little bit on how the process will happen. Will it be RFQ, RFP, where we'll just go out there and, Google different places?
Currently, we have a program that we use already for all employees for a lot of trainings that deal with safety, like slip, trips and falls, bloodborne pathogens. And so we have a module that every employee has to use, and there's certain things that they have to do. And so the same group has cybersecurity training in there. So it's something that we have for employees so that we can tap in and provide that training. And it meets all the requirements for the law. So that's what we use currently, so that it's all in one place and we don't have different modules and different types of platforms where people have to log in everywhere to get the training. But we can actually share that with you too, so you can see Safe Schools and how we use it. And you can see all the different modules and all the different trainings that are required by law that our employees have to do.
And we're actually required to do a few of those modules, and I believe the deadlines for those were in the last several weeks that we have to do. So you'll see it when you do it, how it works and stuff.
If I do it.
If you do, that's what I thought.
At the end, it wouldn't show that I had done it. And I just got mad and I said, I'm not gonna do it again.
No, it does. It's all in there.
I got it.
You can get the certificate and
I
everything.
got certificate on two, but on the other
Okay.
two that I did, they were longer. I didn't get anything and I couldn't, I tried every way to do it, so it's complicated.
But we'll definitely get you the legal part and bring that, because I mean, it's just items information today. We can bring that legal before we adopt it and show, and then give you more details on how that should really, how it should read.
Thank you.
But we just want to make sure that we have to, for sure, by law, have every employee take the cybersecurity training and present that to the state, that everybody's got that training.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Okay, I will go ahead and continue, and I know I moved the slide back here a little bit. So FFAC Local is our next update, and this is dealing with wellness and health services. So there were a lot of revisions of this policy in an effort really to align the policy with Texas Department of State Health Services guidance. And so in this policy, the updates were to include only those board level decisions that should be in the policy, and then remove any provisions that are more appropriate in administrative regulations. And so they were recommended for removal from the policy and inclusion in the district's administrative regulations. So some of those things that were covered are how the district responds when students become ill, what steps to take when a student is involved in an accident, and requirements for administering medication provided by students. So TASB recommended a particular wording of this particular policy, and then we did make some updates that are included there in consultation with our Director of Health Services, and then working also with TASB to come up with the language that would reflect what our policy is, or what our practice is in terms of administering medication. And so there are special provisions that are included in the district's policies to address the purchase of non-prescription medication for use in the district athletic program and when administering first aid to students. And then the purchase of unassigned prescription epinephrine, auto-injectors, and unassigned prescription asthma medications is also addressed in the revision based on established protocols, again, our practices, and then in consultation with TASB. And so that was included as well. The last local policy update was GKA Local, and this is community relations or conduct on school premises. The previous policy had indicated that if there was a refusal to allow someone to enter or ejection from the property based on Education Code 37.105, that they shall be permitted to address the board within 90 days. And this revision updated it to 90 calendar days. To clarify, did they need calendar or district business days? The policy update recommendation from TASB was that it's 90 calendar days, unless the complaint is resolved before coming to the board. And so that gives a community member the ability within those calendar days, 90 calendar days, for the board to address that. In sum, there are recommended policy updates based on changes corresponding to the legal policies. Only one change for the recommended board policy, which is FFAC Local. Our local change to FFAC Local was to align our policy with current district practice concerning non-prescription medications. At this time, there's no fiscal impact in making these changes. These are items of information and no required action at this meeting. Are there any questions I can answer for anybody, or we can answer?
Thank you, Mayor.
The first reading, and we'll bring back additional information
on the cybersecurity, to see the clarification of that language piece, for you, Pete. And I think that's a line that they put in there. I don't want to labor it, but that's a line. And I think the idea is if you look at a paragraph right above it, that we have a cybersecurity coordinator who I think everyone assumed that was the person's responsibility to find that, which it really is. And I think they just put that in as a clarifying piece. But we'll bring it back to legal policy when we ask you guys to approve this. Once it's updated in April.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, update on 2021 trustee election.
Yes, sir. I know we're getting closer to that May 1st election and, the early voting. And so I wanted to give a quick update. Tonight with me, Jackie, are you with us? I know you're on your cell phone. Okay. She should be able. Jackie, can you hear me? Well, as she's figuring it out, I invited Jackie Callanan, who is the Bexar County Elections Administrator, to kind of come and talk to us about their process on adding early voting sites. Because I know it requested 3 to 4, and they are working on theirs. They have worked on theirs and they're getting theirs, and she was going to walk y'all through kind of their process. If she's there. She's there.
Is the phone number correct? She was on here.
Maybe she went off, came back on. We'll give her a few minutes to see if she can.
Everybody was here.
Well, maybe I'll give her a few minutes and we can go.
You want me to go to the next item?
Yeah, and see if she comes back.
Can we table that item? Come back.
Yes. Okay, we'll go to Resilient School Support Program.
Yes, sir. This is a program that Janine Garcia has been working with another entity in TEA. This was a opportunity at TEA provided to all districts to apply to. I thought there was 40. I learned today there's 58 districts throughout the state of Texas who are part of the program to provide direction, tools, planning around this new kind of delivery of instruction and where we go and how we move forward and give our teachers the support and guidance that they need to do a really great job in this, whatever you call it, remote model, virtual model, face-to-face model. And so I'd like, there's been a lot of work and a lot of meetings taking place with this. And so we're at a point to give our trustees kind of a big checkpoint of where we are in RSSP. And so I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Garcia, and I believe she has some guests also joining us this evening.
Yes, and I am very thankful that we were able to provide an awesome application, which we were able to receive these services that every single time I speak to Education, which is our consulting group, I thank them every single time because they've been a phenomenal group. So with us this evening, we do have Carrie and Dylan and Andrea, I believe. And so I just want to share with the board that this group has been phenomenal in being able to assist us with carrying out a lot of the work that is shared in your green packets. This is a PowerPoint that the consulting group put together. And I want to express to you that a lot of this work has been with a lot of meetings, with a lot of collaboration. So we are very happy and very proud of this work that has been, that is still continuing. And so we just want to share with you all the great work that has been completed through also to the help and the collaboration of Education. Carrie? We're ready.
Oh, no. So we can't hear her.
Oh, how about I go off of mute? Good evening, everybody. Hi. First time on Zoom. Great to be with you all today. Dalila and Lisa and the team have been so fantastic to work with. We've gotten the privilege of supporting 6 districts this school year in Texas through this program, and each one of them is so different. And this team is just so committed and energetic and enthusiastic about the work that's been kind of presented to us in this very unusual year. So it's a privilege to talk to you tonight about what we've been doing together. You do have a few members of my team with me tonight. Dallin McKinnon is here, as well as Andrew Seeger. Both of them are, in the details every day, thinking about how can we help support Southwest leaders, teachers, students, families. And we've got a number of other colleagues who are in this together with us. As Delila mentioned, TEA created this program using their Federal CARES Act dollars and had districts apply to be a part of it. Southwest was one of about 58 districts that were selected. So really kind of cutting edge work focused on how do districts organize themselves to deliver world-class remote instruction this year. Something none of us were thinking about, but barely, right, this time last year when everything changed. The focus in this program is helping kids get access to high quality learning, maybe working with parents and making sure they're satisfied with the experience, focusing on teacher capacity, leader capacity, and getting smarter about what does it look like to deliver world-class remote learning. So those were kind of all the things we thought about doing with your team. And where we landed this year is on these kind of 5 main initiatives over the school year. Again, could not be more thrilled to partner with the team. And I think Andrew's gonna drop everybody's name in the chat in case you can see that, because they've just been so phenomenal. So the first thing we did is we got smart about what was best practice in virtual instruction. Maybe some of you saw it, but early in the school year, every other day I would get a long email with 100 different hyperlinks about do this, do that, to get your teachers to do this. And it was kind of overwhelming. So we dug in, got feedback and advice from this team about what are the things that really matter with virtual instruction and best practice. And from there, we started to think about what does it look like to roll that out and help get everyone smart about it. So we've developed professional development for our leaders and coaches. We've kind of done an interesting model around on-demand PD modules, and I'm going to go into each of these in more detail in a second. We've been supporting the professional learning communities at a handful of schools. And now it's getting towards the end of the year, we've been thinking about a core instructional framework that really will have resonance throughout the years to come. So this first idea around, of course, my screen is freezing, virtual instruction best practices. We thought about what are the things that really matter. I mean, everybody was so overwhelmed at the beginning of the school year. And so we kind of wanted to get smart about if I'm teaching a classroom of 20 kids on Zoom, or maybe I've got 10 kids in front of me and 10 on Zoom, what do I need to know in order to make that a meaningful classroom experience for them? So we came up with 5 different categories of great virtual instruction best practices, just to kind of give you a sense of what that looks like what does it mean to do assessment and provide feedback in a classroom that's online. And accompanying that, we've created a bunch of tools and strategies, deep dive guides. Here in Southwest, you've had more than 200 teachers across 16 campuses complete a self-reflection tool aligned to that. It's meant that we asked them to say okay, I'm doing this. How do I feel about my own practice? Do I feel like I'm still kind of learning? Am I getting better? Am I proficient? And that was really helpful information for your leadership team and for us to think about supporting you moving forward. Along with that, then we were okay, let's roll this out to the leaders and coaches. And so we've done some live professional development for folks so that because we couldn't meet in person, and organized everything on a learning space. So there's a tailored, dedicated Southwest ISD learning space that houses all of these different training materials and resources. As we've rolled out this information to your teachers, 90% of them left feeling oh, I can do something. Sorry, there's my dog. Do something with this the next day. Very actionable feedback. This is our COVID world, right?
There's a YouTube moment.
What happens when you have a 4.5-month-old golden retriever puppy? And so thinking about how do we get this information to teachers, again, we know we can't bring them all together. People are busy, they're stretched really thin. So we created an on-demand set of modules, each of them about 25, 30 minutes long, that teachers can take at their convenience around the issues that they most need help with. We've got a pretty robust plan for rolling this out in your district throughout the rest of the school year, and getting great feedback from your teachers around being able, they take these sessions and they're like, yep, I can do something tomorrow differently in my classroom. And again, your team has been great at providing feedback on how to make that work well for teachers. And then kind of our last, like very, COVID oriented idea has been supporting the professional learning communities at schools. This is a, community of teachers who get together on a regular basis and think about what's going on with our kids, what's going on with our instruction, how can we make it better. So we've created like a scope and sequence, a 10-week series for helping them think hard about the data and what they're learning with their kids. We're doing this with 5 of your campuses. Already 60 teachers have participated in the kickoff module and started incorporating kind of these new ideas into their PLCs. I meant to say when this started, and I just dove right in. I joined your board meeting right as you were announcing all the teachers of the year. I don't know how you could have picked anybody, any one of the teachers. Like, what an amazing year to be a teacher, and how hard they've all worked. It was great to hear about that, and we're helping support them through this effort. Lastly, we're kind of ending this year on something I'm really excited about, this core instructional framework, building on the literacy framework you already had and what we've learned through the year in terms of what kids know and or what kids need and what teachers can do. We've come up with a core instructional framework, working with your district leaders, like 25 people in a workshop, and we kind of process like, okay, what are the things that really matter in terms of the evidence making a difference for how kids learn and how teachers teach. So we've come up with 6 high-yield instructional strategies aligned to the T-test. We've already started rolling this out to most principals and to academic coaches. In fact, we had 2 sessions today where we talked about teacher clarity. I had a chance to sit in on the morning session, and it was just great discussion with your teachers around and the leaders about how can we make this real for our teachers? How can we help encourage them to be putting this practice into work? So this is a really exciting model that your team has kind of dreamed up and pushing forward in the year ahead. And speaking of the year ahead, we are hoping to get an opportunity to continue working with you. TEA is extending this project for another year, where the focus next year is really going to be on campus level implementation to help school teachers and kids. Like this year, we know like kids have tried, but it has not been normal. And so we expect that students will come back to school, hopefully most of them in person next year, but there's going to be some learning gaps. So we're going to work with the team to think about what's that COVID recovery plan look like, and how can we help coach teachers and school leaders and work with the instructional materials and maybe think differently about time and tutoring and lots of innovations. So this is what we're hoping to do in the year ahead. And again, it's been just a real privilege to work with your team, and happy to answer any questions or turn it back to Dalila.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you so much. You explained it very well and very thorough. So that's just a little snippet of all the work that has begun and to go on throughout the year. And so I would say that religiously we meet every Monday at 3 o'clock with Ed Direction. And we also have a lot of different work that is happening throughout the week. So we've seen tremendous, just work that has gone on throughout this year with the task forces, and it's been ongoing. So these 5 components that you saw up there, it's been months and weeks and just a lot of hours that it's taken a lot of leaders on the campus and a lot of leaders in the district. So I'm very appreciative to all the campus principals and all the campus teacher leaders that we also have here in this district that make this work very much possible. So thank you to Ed Direction. Thank you so much for your support and always inviting our ideas and making it happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, board members?
How many?
Okay,
How many
we have
teachers
luck
are
with
in this, leaders, teacher leaders across the district are doing this?
So currently, the on-demand modules, today we had all the academic coaches and MCLs And then we also had CNI people. So today the on-demand module started. But on Friday, we're gonna, like I was saying, Dr. Russell, we're gonna press a button, which these on-demand modules are gonna go for all the district teachers. So our goal is for every single district teacher to be able to plan and learn through these 30-minute modules. And we particularly were very particular about the 30 minutes. So this way it was not extensive, it was not something that was gonna take too much time, but something that was doable and just a snippet of some important information.
So in April brown bag, we'd like to bring this back and maybe take one of the areas and really kind of drill down into it and let the board see what the teachers, but since it's gonna really promulgate down into for all of our teachers this week, we wanted to give the board an update of where RSSP is, the great partnership with the ed direction. And we also in April want to talk about our summer school plan, what that looks like, how we're going to work to mitigate some of the learning loss that we had in this really unorthodox school year and what that plan looks like. So we like to couple those two things together and we'll bring this item back in our work session so that we can go a little further deeper and give the board an idea of what our teachers are seeing from all the work and really great work and leadership. And I've been able to get into some of their meetings and the collaboration is definitely above reproach. The commitment and dedication is second to none. And I think the idea is where do we go from here through this year? And so we want to make sure that if we're going to have remote virtual instruction, that is the best practices and that we're giving our teachers the tools and face-to-face on-demand PD opportunities are definitely something that you need to give your teachers immediate access to PD opportunities immediately. And so it's exciting work and it's a really great framework. And now that the plan is together, now it's our job to really hone the plan and really get it down to where it needs to be, which is into every one of our classrooms. And that happens starting this week.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Briggs.
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Do we have liquid, Jackie?
Yeah, I think, Jackie, are you with us now?
Okay.
Jackie. Jackie, can you hear me?
Is this over there here? It shows right.
Jackie, can you unmute your phone?
I don't know how she would mute her phone.
Well,
Can we try speakerphone?
yeah, she's there. That's her cell phone. I don't know if she's just having issues with her mic. She's gonna give an update. What I can do is I can have her maybe write something up that we can send out to you on the process. She was just gonna go through their process and what they're doing on trying to finish all their sites, their early voting sites. They've got quite a few of them.
This is Jackie.
Oh, hello, Jackie.
It's Jackie.
Oh, there you are. Sorry. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Jackie, I kind of gave them an update of where we are. I just wanted to know if you can kind of cover y'all's process on early voting sites for the actual election, the overall election, and then how y'all can help us with our request for our election.
Sure. Thank you for giving every year, obviously, there's an election on the usual election dates. And as you know, last year for November, it was unbelievable because all of the May elections were pushed back to November. And you all joined the joint push, which is just, I'm proud of you for doing that, but I understand it took you out of your comfort level. We have you as a standalone election. We're running the May elections again, and we have 20 entities that are sharing that ballot on the joint election. And as you know, when we set up, like just like with you, ask you what site you'd like to use for your early voting sites. And so we maxed out at 42. That's our limit, what we have for infrastructure for security reasons. Obviously, we have the highest level of security as we go back and forth for all of this. When we have an election, we have to bring up all of your voters. You have that poll book, but basically a laptop is what it looks like to everyone. And that has to be signed in with us, and I know your security people would understand that. And so right now, we do have the opportunity, because Brandon has been such a fantastic person to work with. He and Miss Mary are just the best. And we did put in a request to have a second early voting site. And if you choose, we can do that. That would take us to our limit. That's going to take us right up to the wall. But again, you all are so wonderful to work with. I do want to tell you though, for every early voting site that we add, the early voting costs are usually about $8,000 to $9,000 per site. And with where you are just, when we worked it up for one early voting site, which is your normal, and then one election day site, we have it at $16,000. Now we have for election day, I think you've given us 5 sites. And so we're ready with that. But again, we're just waiting to see what your wishes are, and we can help you in any way. Obviously, for your voters, I can't say it, but the voters so appreciate it when you're in a joint election, because right now, some of your voters, not all of them, but you have them in some territory that's within the city limits of San Antonio. Mm-hmm. So some of your voters will be required to go to places to vote early. Mm-hmm. And that's usually when we get the phone calls. They're not real happy doing that. But again, we've passed that point on this election because tomorrow, believe it or not, is the start of the election when we have to put the military ballots in the mail. So, I'm here to answer any questions. We can make your desires.
I have a question, Miss Jacqueline.
Sure.
Would it be possible, since we're only going to get one additional early voting site, which we had originally wanted 4, would it be possible for us to add the Southwest ISD ballot to the Johnston Library and the Palo Alto College sites that you already have in place?
We could do that. That's called co-locating, but we still would have to charge, and we would have to have a set of election officials to handle your ballot, and then we have a set of election officials to handle the joint.
Right.
Your voters would have to sign in at the same location 2 times.
Sure. Sure, but it is possible?
It is possible.
Okay. So then that would mitigate the fact that we only have one extra site for early voting.
How soon would you need that direction?
We can let that. I mean, it can be a week. It can be 2 weeks until you tell us on that. Now,
Ms. Jacqueline, but aren't we supposed to notify the voters like 60 days in advance or something? Aren't we in violation of that information already?
Coming very close. Your voters already know the notice has gone out that you will be holding an election. And at the bottom of those elections, we always say subject to change, so that your voters are already aware that this is your voting times, this is the election day site, this is the election day times. Mm-hmm. And we use those words at the bottom, subject to change.
Right, so but it would behoove us to wrap these decisions up, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Certainly would. Now, just for my clarity, would that still include Mcauliffe? Or would we be at Southwest and then use Palo Alto and Johnston?
Well, I think, Jackie, that's what the board will have to discuss and make a decision.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Can I answer, may I answer any other questions?
Oh, yes, I have an additional question. If, let's say we end up with Johnston, Palo Alto College, and Mcauliffe, and the central office, would our voters be able to go to any of the four, or do they have to go to a designated one?
No, they can go to any one of those four.
Wonderful. Okay, that's good to hear. Okay.
And then, you know, it's like, if you're going to increase your early voting sites to include and sort of co-locate, please know that Bear County, a year and a half ago, was approved as vote centers. So any day during the election day, voters can go to any site. It follows that same model.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So if we would keep you co-located at Johnston
Yes.
and Palo Alto, your voters could vote there on election day, but they'd have to go to one of those two sites. Or they'd have to go to your Southwest Admin building or to Mcauliffe. Okay, like I said, they will be open on Johnston and will be open on Palo Alto.
On election day too, Jackie, is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Once we have a site for early voting, it automatically stays open for election day.
Yes.
It saves so much confusion for the voters.
Right, so they can go to any of them.
Any of those four.
Correct.
Any more questions?
Nope.
Okay, Jackie.
Okay, well, if you make your decision tomorrow, I'll work up the numbers on the contract and we'll do it tomorrow, Brandon, okay?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for answering. There you go, sir.
So Brandon, she was saying that, that it's gonna cost us an additional fund at each of those locations? or what?
It's $8,000 for each early voting site. So like, that's what it costs us to run this one, because the employees that they hire, they actually hire extra now because of COVID. And so they run for the 8 days from the hours they work. And then for each one we add is an additional $8,000. So we have one in Mcauliffe, that's $8,000. We have one at, let's say, Legacy, it's another $8,000. Because we're talking about early voting.
So that versus what we had, I know that we had voted on something. If we rescind on that and change it, is it, do we save any money by going with the county instead completely or what?
If we go with the model that we have, where we have it here only with our sites on voting day, it's about the same price. But as we
it's about the same.
as we add early voting sites, it costs us more. But at this point now, we can't change because we can't join their joint election anymore. They already put theirs out there.
I thought the board's already agreed on central early voting and then have election day have the other voting sites. I thought the board's already approved that.
Yeah.
They did. You approved.
We agreed that, we already agreed on that already.
You approved joint election with Lidle, and you approved early voting site here with our voting day sites, with also
Election day.
adding possibly 3 to 4 additional sites.
For early voting.
So right-
No, for early voting. For early voting.
Early voting.
Within our district.
Within our district.
Yeah,
Is there
within
a
the
reason why right now we are only looking at Mcauliffe?
Well, we were trying to get 3 that we could put somewhere, but to help us get those sites, they're looking for a site for the city as well.
Yeah.
So if we go to Legacy area, it really won't, and then it's in the city, but it's not in the vicinity of where our voters would be in that area for the city. So Mcauliffe is kind of the best site. We go out to Big Country area, the city, and they won't be able to use that site. So Mcauliffe for us, the library is probably ideal for an early voting site because it's on the side and they can park right there and walk right in. It's probably the best site that we have for early voting besides taking over a campus cafeteria or gym. But during early voting, we have school going on.
So right now, we have, what she said is if we add Mcauliffe, that puts them at the,
At
that's
42.
all they can do for us within our school district. So right now, we have Mcauliffe and central office as early voting. And then on election day, we have 5.
We have central office,
Bob Hope, Big Country, Sky Harbor, Sun Valley, and Light. So we have 6.
So they're all within our school district, which is what we had originally wanted.
But she did say we could code locate at Johnston and at Palo Alto College with.
Which are not in our school district.
Right, but we had, when we do joint Bear County elections, we had over 17,000 voters in 2020. Listen, listen. We had over 17,000 voters in 2020, and we had over 10,500 voters in 2018 with a joint Bear County election. So those are Southwest ISD voters. Those are community members, those are taxpayers. They are people that participate. They are parents of children in this district, and they have as much of a stake on these elections as anybody else. And they are being asked to go to 2 sites, 2 lines, and 2 ballots. She is saying that we don't have to do that. We do not have to disenfranchise that voter or suppress that vote through a simple code locate to include those 2 sites. There are neighborhoods around both of those areas, many neighborhoods that are Southwest ISD communities.
Well, it's not on the agenda to vote on anything.
So the idea is to bring an item of information to give an update. So I think we all kind of learned some additional information, so we'll have to
Brandon,
bring it in the form of a
I'm sorry.
motion.
By when do we need to vote on this? If we decide to go with the code sites?
Yeah, after 2 weeks, so it would have to, if you're gonna vote on the co-sites, it would have to be at the, I guess, the next brown bag, or.
But we would have the code sites and we would also have Mcauliffe.
Correct. That's what she's saying she could possibly do. I mean, I'll get with her tomorrow and get the details, and so that you'll have details.
And that would give us the 3 additional sites that we said that we wanted to do 3 to 4.
But we did say we wanted those additional sites within our school district to keep it a school.
Right, but the Bear County doesn't have the ability to do that. They said that we only get 1.
Yeah. And I had spoken to Brandon before, and he said he didn't want to disrupt the gyms or the cafeterias at the schools because early voting would be during the entire week.
Right. Well, this isn't, we can't
If
do
I
it.
have April 6th is soon enough to get that.
I'll ask for you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on that? Okay, here now, 7A and B will take place in closed session. 8A, consider approval of next school days waiver of school closing resulting from severe winter weather.
Yes, sir. I believe we have,
Adrian Ramirez?
Adrian?
Yeah, he's online. Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Board President Vasquez, board members, Dr. Verstev, and senior leaders. The Texas Education Agency has provided guidance to local education agencies regarding the submission of a missed school days waiver due to school closings resulting from severe winter weather. This waiver may be requested without makeup days required or having to utilize bad weather days. All Southwest ISD schools were closed for 4 days from Tuesday, February 16th through Friday, February 19th, 2021 due to severe weather conditions. This requested waiver will apply to all campuses, and information contained in the waiver application will include specific closure dates. The missed school days waiver will help Southwest ISD stay within the 75,600 operational minute requirement and allow our district to receive funding for reported closure dates. Guidance provided by the Texas Education Agency was used to prepare the waiver. In addition, a survey was developed and shared with the community to obtain feedback regarding options for addressing the recent district closure. Option 1 was to submit a missed school days waiver to TEA. Option 2 was to adjust the school calendar to extend the school year to make up the 4 missed school days. Option 3 involved utilizing extra minutes built into our existing school calendar. Several survey responses included other recommendations. As of 2:28 p.m. on Thursday, March 4th, there were 853 survey responses with 80 0.77% in favor of submitting a missed school days waiver. So the recommendation at this point is that the board approve the missed school days waiver for school closings resulting from severe winter weather.
Board members, any questions?
No,
If not,
I move.
I second.
we have a motion and a second. The board approve the missed school days waiver for school closing resulting from severe winter weather. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, D, consider approval of waiver to switch to 100% remote instruction for Southwest High School due to severe winter weather damage. Is that also, Adrian?
Yes, sir.
Yes, before Adrian does cover this, I want to say, I think this item may have gotten miscommunicated on local news, and I think there was some newscast I learned from Mr. Vasquez today that was announcing that we're looking to possibly close or go 100% virtual for the school year. But we're actually, this is retroactive because of the damage at Southwest High School and getting that building ready to receive students safely. It took us another week. And so I just want everyone to really understand, we're only talking about that week right after the winter freeze that we had. We're specifically talking about the week of February 22nd to February 26th, 2021, and nothing beyond there. And so, Adrian, you can please take it from there.
Thank you, sir. The Texas Education Agency has provided guidance to local education agencies regarding the submission of a waiver to switch to 100% remote instruction due to infrastructure issues resulting from severe winter weather. According to TEA, a local education agency may provide 100% remote instruction utilizing its approved asynchronous plan. Submitting this waiver along with any supporting documentation will allow the local education agency to claim full day minutes for any remote day reported during the resulting closure period. Southwest High School did sustain significant water damage due to severe winter weather in February 2021 that prevented students from safely returning to campus to engage in face-to-face instruction. The school made use of the district's approved asynchronous plan and provided 100% remote instruction to its students for 5 days from Monday, February 22nd, 2021 through Friday, February 26, 2021. Information contained in the waiver application will include specific days that Southwest High School switched to 100% remote instruction. Guidance provided by the Texas Education Agency was used to prepare this waiver. And the recommendation is that the board approve the waiver to switch to 100% remote instruction for Southwest High School due to severe winter weather damage.
For those 5 days.
For these 5 days.
Any questions? Okay, and I'm going to ask board members who makes the motion that please include the dates so it can be clarified. If you are going to make a recommendation for, please do so now.
Where did the dates? Is it on here?
No, it's not on there.
Oh, okay. Somebody has to have that in front of them. Let me see it. I make the motion that the board approve the waiver to switch to 100% remote instruction for February 22nd through February 26th, 2021 at Southwest High School due to severe winter weather damage.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second. The motion is that the board approve the waiver to switch to 100% remote instruction for Southwest High School due to severe winter weather damage during the week of February 22nd to February 26th of this year, 2021. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Consider approval of contract for strategic planning and consultant services.
Yes, sir. Back in 2016, we adopted our strategic plan. It was a 5-year plan, and that's come to an end. And so we're in our last year of that plan. And so now we're we're asking the board to help us hire a consultant to develop a new strategic plan for the next 5 years. And the consultant will help us by providing guidance, seeking input from stakeholders, and then helping us create the overall plan. We reached out to 3 different vendors, had them come in, and we're able to do 2 full interviews with 2 of the vendors, but we got full proposals from them. We had 3 that were right there close to each other. The district is recommending JG Consulting. They are they're right at 48,000. The other 2, K-12 Insight was around 49,000, and School Architects was 45,000. We just felt like the proposal set forth by JG Consulting and the group that they're gonna, they have a lot of background in Texas. They had a lot of ex-school leaders with their group, and so we feel like they will help us on our pathway to create a new strategic plan. And so we're asking the board to approve the contract for consulting services with JG Consulting for the amount not to exceed 48,000.
All the groups did present to senior staff. We're all part of the process of hearing how they would go about making sure that we include our community focus groups, steering committees, parent student surveys to be part of that process. Much like we did the first one, we're looking to add on a new component to the next strategic plan, which is really a compilation of the board priority goals of what we want to be held accountable for as a system. And that additional aspect to this plan is we want a reporting mechanism to the community so that we can grade ourselves annually with the community so they can see exactly where we are on the priority goals that we have set out for ourselves over the next 5 years with certain milestones along the way. In the explanation, the presentations, the JG Consulting Group really spoke with the Texas lens, Texas optics. Texas is a little different, I think, than the nation in education. I think they really kind of lead that area. And we just felt real comfortable. There were retired superintendents as part of our meeting. Superintendents from Round Rock, from Lamar, Consolidated, ISD, down the valley, Dr. Cavazos, folks that we're familiar with and really know about, and feel real comfortable that this is a group that we think that we can get the best plan moving forward that will be representative of what our community wants and what our governing board will hold us accountable for. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I'm interested in, I know that when we went through the process 5 years ago, we did set up very specific goals for each like department and stuff. And I'm wondering if we can get a presentation to see how well we did in reaching some of the milestones. I mean, some were very big picture, some were more specific, but I'm interested to see how we did overall.
Yes,
In the future.
that's definitely something we can bring back in the brown bag. I
Mhm.
don't know if we have enough time. In April got full real quick. in
That's
the last
fine.
48 hours, but by May, I'm definitely positive we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
We can do back to back.
When are they gonna start, and is this gonna be taking place in person, or are they gonna do virtual, if it's gonna be anytime soon?
Well, I think that once we get this approved, we'll start working on a contract, and we have a pretty, I mean, ours is ending, so we need to start working on it, so it's
Mhm.
probably this spring we'll start, and then it'll be mostly probably virtual at first, and then depending where we go with the pandemic.
The whole process is somewhere between 8 months to 12
Mhm.
months to really involve and include everyone. So it'd be all through, we'll plan to start it probably in May or June, but it'll go all the way through at least mid-year next year before we have a final document for the board to approve.
Mhm.
And the board will be part of the process too, so it should be part of the approval.
Sounds good.
Any other questions for him? Any motion?
I move.
A second.
We have a motion and second, the board approve the contract for consultant services with JG Consulting for the amount not to exceed 48,000 for our next strategic plan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay, business and finance. Consider and take action in regard to approving the emergency school closing resolution. Brandon?
Yes, sir. This is based off the local policy DA It addresses pay during a school closure due to an emergency. And obviously during the snow and ice that happened to us from February 15th to February 19th, it was deemed necessary to shut schools down. Also to not have employees travel during that time period. So tonight we're asking the board to approve the resolution that will allow us to pay and all employees to be paid for those days that the district is closed due to the emergency closure. We feel like this pays a service for a perfect purpose. We don't want anybody to go without pay for a week. The entire school district was closed, and so this exception will involve all essential personnel and any personnel that did come during the time of the really the recovery phase. And we actually opened a warming center, and then we served meals on Saturday. We asked those non-exempt employees to come in. We asked the board to approve premium pay for that group. And so tonight, we're asking the board to approve the resolution dealing with the wage issues involved in the closure for all employees from February 15th through February 19th, 2020.
I move. I second.
So the motion is second. We've had the resolution before us. Any other questions?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Brandon. Curriculum and instruction.
We have no items under there today, other than items of information.
Okay, before we go into closed section,
What about this is about the pay. What about the subs, the long-term subs that were already,
The subs that were already here and any subs that took jobs
that were gonna work during
that
the
were going to
time?
work in those we paid. So
Awesome.
they had to be in the system and had taken jobs, and we had paid.
Thank you.
any other board member have anything?
Nope.
Dr. Versto?
I just want to thank those of you who are able to attend the Southwest Pony opening ceremony. We're able to really recognize a former board member, former Pony advocate who was really behind starting that league, working with the board of trustees back in the day, Raul Guzman. And so it was really an honor to see his family honored like that. And they're very proud of what the district, the board was able to do to put a rock in the tree that is, as soon as you walk into the right, that you can see. And, it's points of pride like that that really kind of remind everyone why we're in this, to build community. And so I'm really happy we're able to recognize Mr. Guzman that way.
It was a good presentation. It was good all the way around, and they were happy to see us as well. I want to thank Mr. Bernal and Mr. Sullivan for attending as well. Okay, if we have nothing else, we'll go into closed session as permitted by sections 551.001 through 551.146 of the Texas Government Code. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, discussion on personnel and administrator employment, resignations, reassignments, leave of absence, and contract renewals. And pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with the district's attorney concerning legal and procedural issues related to non-renewal purposes. Pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consider and discuss proposed non-renewal of term contract employee Dr. Aja Gardner, and in accordance with Texas Government Code section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. This meeting is now closed, and closed session will now be open. We call this meeting back to order at 8:46. We'll go to item 7A, Superintendent's recommendation on personnel and administrator employment.
I move we approve the superintendent's recommendation on administration and
Personnel.
personnel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, now we'll go, motion passes. Item 7B, consider and take possible action regarding proposed non-renewal of term contract employee Dr. Aja Gardner.
I move that the board accept the superintendent's recommendation to propose the non-renewal of the term contract of Dr. Aja Gardner, and further move that the board direct the superintendent to give written notice to Dr. Gardner that the board proposes not to renew her term contract for the succeeding school year.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any extensions?
Abstain.
Please note, Mr. Reynolds is abstaining. Anyone against? Motion passes. Okay. Do we have any last items?
Yes,
You
sir.
want to introduce someone?
I have a few items.
You get two.
Sir?
You get two.
You can have 7.
This Friday, March 19th, is the Southwest Education Foundation Golf Tournament beginning 8:30 a.m. Unfortunately, it's not going to be like we all know with the lunch and everything. It's basically everything will be outside. There'll be a grab and go lunch. Anyone, you're all welcome to be there, come by, take a part around, drive it around. Thank our folks for coming out, supporting all the enhanced education experiences that their presence does for our students. My understanding is there's over 100 golfers signed up, so the numbers during the pandemic are as good as the numbers even before the pandemic. So Southwest IT has a lot of friends and has a lot of people who love to support our students. And that's a really positive, great thing. Also, there is a early release for students coming up. It's one of the teacher planning days, which is March 24th, elementary. Early on, we get 12:10, middle school 11:30, high school 1:10 p.m. These are those opportunities that the board approved to give our teachers in the classroom more planning opportunities. Then I wanted to share, everyone knows Mona Huizar and her father, Mr. Sanchez. Just had a really special, he's a community member, and I just want to acknowledge this. He just received the French Legion of Honor Medal from the President of the French Republic, Emmanuel Macron. Gentleman came into San Antonio to basically in French knight him for the honor for being part of the Battle of the Bulge and the Battle of Normandy.
Awesome.
Gentleman has quite a history. Things we learn about in history, he lived. And it's really neat to have someone come in from France and to spend a special recognition on him. She shared that, and I just wanted to acknowledge that because he's a community member.
How old is he now? How old is he now?
He's 100 and a half. That's amazing. That's wonderful. That's a great honor.
Wow.
He was knighted.
Wow.
That's very awesome.
I think that makes Mona a queen.
The coach.
And another announcement, one of your board actions that you approved tonight is naming the new head football coach at Southwest Legacy, home of the Fighting Titans. We have Coach Robert Bruce, who's taking over the reins. Thank you, Coach Bruce. Congratulations to you. And those are my one thing, sir.
Fantastic. Fellow board members, does anyone have anything?
I have a shout out. I'd like to say that I was very pleased to see that the high school teams went to the regionals powerlifting competition, and it was I believe it was both the boys and the girls that participated in Cleveland, Texas, I believe. And I know that one of our boys is going to state, so I just want to shout out to them. You're doing a great job, and we are very proud of you.
And I want to give a shout out to all of our principals for everything they've done during this whole time for all of our children in our district.
I want to recognize and congratulate those people who have served the district and are retiring this year. They have done an amazing job with our children and been great role model for our children. And I just thank them, and I pray that God blesses them.
And I'd like to give a shout out to along with our Teachers of the Year that we recognize tonight, who are great representatives of all our fine staff at all our schools. I'd like to give a shout out for our social workers, who are a very important part of our school system, who deal with issues daily and sometimes well into the evening. Thank you for all you do, and continue doing your best. We support you.
I'd like to give a shout out to all of our coaches and our staff, our ROTC people, all those people that are making a way for our extracurricular activities to continue. They've had a lot to modify with all of the pandemic restrictions, but everything I see on social media is that our kids are still competing, and they're competing well. And it's taking a lot of extra work on the coaches and the staff's part. So thank you very much.
I'd like to give a shout out to our pre-K aides. I see you on social media, always positive, always upbeat, with some great stories about the kids and how they're doing in the classroom, and all the beautiful, decorations that y'all do in the rooms and the reading corners, and, the Dr. Seuss corner, and, just creating a whole world for these little 4-year-olds. And you call them your babies, and we can see that they are very well taken care of, that they are loved every day. And we just couldn't even ask for anything more.
I want to give a shout out to and a special thanks to all the students that come every day, whether it be virtual or face-to-face in this pandemic time. Without you, we would not be Southwest. And thank you for coming to school every day.
Great. Thank you, fellow board members. Thank you, Dr. Versto. Thank you, those that hung out with us through the night. With that said, this meeting is adjourned at 8:54.